Some while ago, I read a bunch of Conan stories written by Robert E. Howard, and by and large, I found them a bit boring and a bit meandering. Occasionally, there was a really cool scene, but that's about it. Then I read one more story, The Frost Giant's Daughter, and I liked it quite a bit, which immediately got me thinking, why? I didn't like the other ones, so why do I like this one? If you've never read it, then it goes like this. The Frost Giant's daughter is luring Conan to his doom, running across the snowy landscape and laughing. And exactly halfway through the story, her brothers rise out of the snow and attack Conan, but Conan being Conan, he defeats them, and suddenly the Frost Giant's daughter is very alarmed. She starts running again, and she's not laughing anymore. Now she actually wants to escape. And just before she could meet a bad end, her father spirits her away. The whole story works so well because it's a chase. It has a constant sense of propulsion to it. It feels like it's moving forward because the characters are running forward, and so the reader is also pulled forward. And there's no meandering and no room for boredom. It reminds me of one of my favorite fantasy stories, Idle Days on the Yawn by Lord Dunsany. Very little happens in the narrative, other than a little bit of sightseeing. There isn't any conflict in the story. The main character simply sails down the river and sails down the river and sails down the river. But there's no meandering and no boredom. The story moves forward together with a sailboat and pulls the reader along. But Dunsany's story is much more straightforward than The Frost Giant's Daughter. And the Greek myth that inspired Howard to write this particular Conan story is quite straightforward as well. It goes like this. Cupid pierces Apollo with an arrow, and Apollo immediately falls in love with Daphne and starts chasing after her. And when he catches up to her, she calls upon her father, and he turns her into a tree. The end. Not the most riveting of tales. It only exists to explain why Apollo is associated with the laurel tree. When Robert E. Howard based his own story on it, he changed it up in a very crucial way. Right in the middle, he added a moment that shifts things. Not a climax, but a moment of alteration. What the characters are doing in the first half of the story and what they are doing in the second half is exactly identical. The Frost Giant's daughter is running away and Conan is chasing her. But the scene where her brothers are defeated changes everything, and the two halves of the story don't feel the same. This improved structure works so well that I think you could fit any setup at all into it and it would work. So that's exactly what I did myself. I used the mountain under the moon as the setting, and a boy born twins with a sword as the main character. The sword was created for the local lord, so the boy doesn't own it, but when the lord dies, the boy steals the sword and runs. He thinks that it's all going to be easy, that he can find safety in the neighboring village, but he's wrong. And that's the moment that alters things. His pursuers show up, and he runs again. This was meant to be the bulk of the story, but when I actually wrote it from start to finish, I ended up with a whole chapter of setup and then a whole chapter of denouement, so the chase is confined to the middle chapter. I started wondering if I had messed things up, so I looked at the Frost Giant's daughter again and found that there, it was exactly the same. Roughly 1/3 of the story is the setup, 1/3 is the chase, and 1/3 is denouement. The chase was simply the bit that expanded and filled my mind.